Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into any room and start conversations effortlessly? They connect with strangers like old friends. They make people feel comfortable, heard, and interesting. And somehow, their conversations never feel awkward or forced. But for many people, starting a simple conversation feels completely different. It feels awkward, uncomfortable, even terrifying. They don't know what to say. They worry about running out of topics. They dread the uncomfortable silences that make every social situation feel like a test they're failing. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Studies show that millions of people experience social anxiety. The fear of judgment, the fear of saying the wrong thing, the fear of being boring or awkward. But here's the good news. Conversation is a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. This audiobook is inspired by powerful ideas about better communication. If you truly want to master conversations, there are books that can help you go even deeper. But right now, we're going to explore practical techniques you can use starting today. In this audiobook, you will discover powerful ways to start conversations naturally, keep them flowing smoothly, and build genuine connections with people. You'll learn why small talk matters, how to move beyond surface-level chatter, and what really makes people feel understood and valued. If you enjoy learning about communication and personal growth, like this video, share it with someone who wants better conversations, and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to explore together. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Why Small Talk Feels Awkward. Before we can fix a problem, we need to understand it. So, let's start with a simple question. Why does small talk feel so awkward for so many people? The answer lies in something called social anxiety. And social anxiety is driven by a few core fears. First, the fear of judgment. When you approach someone, part of your brain is worried about how they'll perceive you. Will they think I'm interesting? Will they think I'm weird? Will they want to keep talking or find an excuse to leave? This fear activates the same neural pathways as physical danger. Your body releases stress hormones. Your heart rate increases. Your mind starts racing. And in that state, it's nearly impossible to be present and natural. Second, the fear of running out of things to say. This is incredibly common. You start a conversation. Things go well for a few minutes. And then, silence. Your mind goes blank. You can't think of anything to say. The awkwardness builds. This fear makes you overthink every conversation. You're not really listening to the other person because you're too busy worrying about what you'll say next. And when you're not really listening, conversations feel shallow and disconnected. Third, the fear of rejection. What if they don't want to talk? What if they're just being polite? What if they're waiting for an excuse to leave? This fear makes you hesitant. You hold back. You don't fully engage. And people can sense that hesitation. It makes them uncomfortable too. These fears are completely normal. They're wired into our brains from thousands of years of evolution, when being rejected from the tribe could mean death. But here's what you need to understand. These fears are based on assumptions, not reality. Most people are not judging you harshly. Most people are happy to talk. Most people are worried about the same things you are. If you're enjoying this audiobook so far, make sure to like the video. It helps more people discover these ideas. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I attended a networking event where I knew absolutely no one. I stood by the wall, pretending to check my phone, feeling completely awkward. Everyone else seemed to know each other. They were laughing, talking, connecting. I felt invisible. After about 20 minutes, a man walked up to me and said something simple. These events can be overwhelming, can't they? That's all he said. And somehow it broke the spell. I laughed and agreed. We started talking. Within minutes, I forgot I was nervous. We had a great conversation. Later, I realized something important. That man wasn't special. He wasn't a professional speaker or a social genius. He just did one simple thing. He started a conversation. And that's all it took. The first step to overcoming social anxiety is understanding that most people want to talk. They're not waiting to judge you. They're waiting for someone to start. In the next chapter, we'll explore exactly how to start. Chapter 2, How to Start Conversations Naturally. Starting a conversation feels like the hardest part. Once you're talking, things usually flow, but that first moment, that's where most people get stuck. The good news is that starting conversations is a skill with specific techniques, and once you learn them, the fear of starting disappears. Let's look at the most effective ways to begin a conversation naturally. Technique 1. Observe your environment. Every situation gives you something to talk about. You just have to notice it. At a party, you might notice the music, the food, the decorations. This playlist is great, isn't it? Have you tried the appetizers? They're amazing. At a conference, you might comment on the speaker, the venue, the topic. What did you think of the last session? This is my first time at this event. How about you? At a coffee shop, you might notice the line, the drinks, the atmosphere. That latte looks incredible. Is it as good as it looks? I love this place. Do you come here often? The environment gives you endless conversation starters. You just have to open your eyes and comment on what you see. Technique 2. Use friendly openers. Some people try to be clever or impressive with their openers. They think they need a brilliant line to capture attention. But research shows that simple, friendly openers work best. Hi, how's your day going? Hey, I'm name. Nice to meet you. Mind if I join you? These openers are effective because they're low pressure. They don't demand anything from the other person. They just extend a friendly invitation to talk. Technique 3. Express genuine curiosity. People love to talk about themselves. It's not narcissism. It's human nature. When you show genuine interest in someone, they naturally warm up to you. I love your perspective on that. How did you get interested in this field? That's fascinating. Tell me more about your work. You seem really passionate about this. What got you started? Curiosity is magnetic. When you're genuinely interested, people feel it, and they want to keep talking to someone who makes them feel interesting. If you're finding these techniques helpful, share this audiobook with someone who could use better conversation skills. Let me give you an example of how these techniques work together. Imagine you're at a friend's barbecue. You see someone standing alone by the grill. You could walk up and say, "Those burgers smell amazing. Are you the grill master here?" That's an environmental observation. It's friendly. It shows curiosity. It gives them something easy to respond to. They might say, "I'm just helping out." The real master is inside getting more drinks. Now you have a natural follow-up. "Well, you're doing a great job. I'm name, by the way." And just like that, a conversation has started. No pressure, no clever lines, just simple, natural connection. The key is to stop overthinking. You don't need the perfect opener. You just need to start. Once you do, the conversation will find its own rhythm. Chapter 3. The Power of Listening. Now let's talk about the most important skill in any conversation. Listening. Most people think being a good conversationalist means being interesting, having great stories, saying clever things. But the truth is, the best conversationalists aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who listen the best. Think about your own experience. Who do you enjoy talking to most? Is it the person who talks about themselves constantly? Or is it the person who seems genuinely interested in you? We love people who make us feel heard, who ask questions and actually listen to the answers, who remember details we've shared, who make us feel like what we say matters. That's the power of listening. It makes people feel valued. And when people feel valued, they want to be around you. But here's the challenge. Most people don't really listen. They just wait for their turn to speak. While the other person is talking, they're already formulating their response. They're not truly present. Real listening is different. Real listening means emptying your mind and focusing completely on the other person. It means try to understand, not just waiting to respond. Let me share a technique that transforms conversations. When someone is talking, don't think about what you'll say next. Just listen. Absorb their words. Notice their tone. Pay attention to their body language. Then, when they pause, ask a question based on what you heard. That sounds challenging. How did you handle it? You seem excited about that. What makes it so meaningful? This does two things. First, it shows you were really listening. Second, it encourages them to go deeper. The conversation becomes more interesting for both of you. If you're enjoying this audiobook, make sure to like the video. It helps more people discover these powerful ideas. Let me tell you a story about listening. A young professional named Michael was struggling in networking events. He felt like no one remembered him. He'd have conversations, exchange business cards, and then never hear from those people again. He decided to try something different. At the next event, he stopped trying to impress people. Instead, he just listened. He asked questions. He paid attention. He remembered details. At the end of the event, one person said something that surprised him. "You're really easy to talk to. Most people just want to talk about themselves. You actually listen." That one conversation led to a coffee meeting, which led to a mentorship, which eventually led to a job opportunity. Michael didn't become a better conversationalist by becoming more interesting. He became better by becoming more interested. That's the power of listening. It doesn't just make conversations better. It opens doors you never knew existed. Chapter 4, Asking Better Questions. Now, let's build on listening with one of the most practical conversation skills, asking better questions. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your conversations. Bad questions lead to boring answers. Good questions lead to interesting discussions. Great questions lead to genuine connection. So what makes a question good or bad? Closed versus open questions. Closed questions can be answered with one word. Did you have a good weekend? Yes. Do you like your job? It's okay. These questions don't invite conversation. They end it. Open questions invite elaboration. What did you do this weekend? What do you enjoy most about your work? How did you get started in this field? These questions can be answered with one word. They encourage the other person to share more. They open doors instead of closing them. Fact versus feeling questions. Fact questions gather information. Where do you live? What do you do? How long have you worked there? These questions are useful, but they don't create connection. They just exchange data. Feeling questions explore experience. How do you like living there? What made you choose that career? What's the most rewarding part of your work? These questions invite emotion. They reveal what matters to someone. They create the kind of depth that builds real connection. If you're enjoying these techniques, share this audiobook with a friend who loves learning about communication. Generic versus specific questions. Generic questions get generic answers. What's new? Not much. Specific questions show you're paying attention. Last time we talked, you mentioned you were working on a big project. How did that turn out? When you ask specific questions based on previous conversations, people feel truly seen. They realize you remember them. You matter to them. And that feeling is rare and powerful. Let me give you an example of how questions can transform a conversation. Imagine you meet someone at a party. A generic conversation might go like this. What do you do? I'm in marketing. Oh, cool. How long have you been doing that? About 5 years. Do you like it? Yeah, it's good. Dead end. Awkward silence. Now imagine the same situation with better questions. What do you do? I'm in marketing. What drew you to marketing? I've always been fascinated by how people make decisions. Marketing lets me explore that. That's interesting. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about how people decide? Now you're having a real conversation. You're learning about psychology, human behavior, and this person's passions. The conversation could go anywhere. The difference isn't the other person. It's the questions. Good questions turn boring exchanges into fascinating discussions. Practice asking better questions today. In your next conversation, try to use only open questions. See how different the conversation feels. Chapter 5, Body Language in Conversations. Words are only part of communication. Research shows that more than half of what we communicate comes from body language. Your posture, your gestures, your eye contact, your tone, all of these send powerful signals. And often, they matter more than the words you choose. Let's explore the key elements of body language in conversations. Eye contact. Eye contact is a foundation connection. When you look someone in the eye, you signal that you're present, engaged, and trustworthy. But too much eye contact feels aggressive. Too little feels shifty or disinterested. The sweet spot is about 60 to 70% of the time. Look at them when they're talking. Look away occasionally when you're thinking. Return to their eyes when you speak. Posture. Open posture signals confidence and approachability. Arms uncrossed. Shoulders relaxed. Body facing toward the other person. Closed posture. Crossed arms. Turned away. Hunched shoulders. Signals discomfort or disinterest. Even if you're genuinely interested, closed posture sends a wrong message. Facial expressions. Your face shows what you're feeling. A genuine smile reaches your eyes. It signals warmth and friendliness. A fake smile only involves your mouth. People can tell the difference. Match your expressions to the conversation. If someone shares good news, smile. If someone shares something difficult, show concern. Your face should reflect what you're hearing. If you're finding this valuable, like this video so more people can discover these ideas. Tone of voice. Your tone carries emotion. A warm, varied tone sounds engaging. A flat, monotone voice sounds bored or boring. Practice varying your pitch and pace. Slow down for important points. Speed up for excitement. Let your voice reflect what you're feeling. Mirroring. Subtly matching the other person's body language creates rapport. If they lean in, you lean in. If they speak softly, you speak softly. This isn't about mimicking. That feels creepy. It's about harmonizing, creating a subtle rhythm that makes both of you feel comfortable. Let me tell you a story about body language. A friend of mine struggled in job interviews. He was qualified, smart, and experienced, but he never got callbacks. I watched him in a mock interview and immediately saw the problem. His posture was closed, arms crossed, shoulders hunched. His eye contact was all over the place. He spoke in a flat monotone. He looked uncomfortable. And when you look uncomfortable, interviewers assume you're not confident. We worked on his body language. Open posture. Steady eye contact. Varied tone. His next interview, he got the job. The interviewer later told him, "You seem so confident and engaged. That's why we hired you." His qualifications hadn't changed. His skills hadn't changed. His body language had changed. And that made all the difference. Chapter 6. Avoiding awkward silence. For many people, the worst part of conversation is the silence. That moment when neither person knows what to say next. The awkward pause that feels like it lasts forever. But silence doesn't have to be awkward. In fact, comfortable silence is a sign of true connection. The problem isn't silence itself. It's what happens in your head during the silence. Let's explore how to handle silence smoothly and keep conversations flowing. First, understand why silence happens. Silence usually occurs at natural transition points. One topic is ended. Neither person has immediately thought of the next topic. That's normal. That's human. The problem is that we interpret silence as failure. We think it means we're boring or the conversation is dying. But that's rarely true. Silence is just a pause. Second, have transition techniques ready. When a topic ends, you have several options. Option 1, ask a follow-up question about the previous topic. That was really interesting. You mentioned something. Can you tell me more about that? Option 2, relate the topic to yourself. That reminds me of something similar that happened to me. Option 3, ask a broad question. So what else has been going on with you? Any exciting plans coming up? Option 4, comment on the environment. This music is great. Do you know who's playing? Having these options ready reduces panic. You don't have to invent something in the moment. You just pick from your toolkit. If you're enjoying this audiobook, share it with someone who'd appreciate better conversation skills. Third, learn to sit with silence. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Just sit comfortably with the silence. Let it breathe. When you're comfortable with silence, you send a powerful signal. You're not desperate. You're not performing. You're just present. And often, when you relax into silence, the other person will speak first. They'll introduce a new topic. They'll share something they were hesitating to share. The silence gave them space. Let me tell you about a conversation that changed my view of silence. I was talking with an older mentor. We'd been discussing a complex topic, and then we both went quiet. For maybe 30 seconds, neither of us spoke. In most conversations, I would have panicked. I would have said something, anything, to fill the space. But that day I didn't. I just sat there, comfortable, waiting. Finally, my mentor spoke. He said something profound about his life that he'd never shared before, something that completely changed how I understood him. Later, I realized that silence created space for depth. If I had rushed to fill it, he wouldn't have shared what he did. The silence wasn't awkward. It was sacred. Not all silence needs to be filled. Some silence creates room for something deeper to emerge. Chapter 7. Building Deeper Connections. Small talk gets a bad reputation. People dismiss it as shallow or meaningless. But small talk serves an important purpose. It's the bridge to deeper connection. You can't start a conversation with life's deepest questions. That would feel invasive and strange. You have to build gradually, layer by layer. Let's explore how conversations naturally evolve from surface to depth. Level 1. Facts. This is pure information exchange. What do you do? Where are you from? How long have you lived here? These questions are safe. They don't require vulnerability. They establish basic context. Level 2. Opinions. Once you establish facts, you can move to opinions. What do you think about topic? How do you like living here? What's your favorite thing about your work? Opinions reveal more about a person. They show values, preferences, and personality. Level 3. Feelings. Feelings go deeper than opinions. How did that experience affect you? What made you feel that way? What's the most rewarding part of what you do? When someone shares feelings, they're trusting you with something personal. That trust builds connection. If you're enjoying this audiobook, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more personal growth content. Level 4. Vulnerabilities. This is the deepest level. What's your biggest fear? What's something you struggle with? What's a failure that taught you something important? Sharing vulnerabilities creates powerful bonds. It says, I trust you enough to show you my real self. The key is moving through these levels gradually. Don't rush to depth. Let the conversation naturally progress. Pay attention to what the other person is comfortable sharing. Match their level. Let me give you an example of how this progression works. You meet someone at a conference. Level 1. So, what brings you to this event? I work in marketing. I'm here to learn about new trends. Level 2. What do you think of the speakers so far? I really liked the morning session. The speaker had some great insights about consumer behavior. Level 3. What about consumer behavior fascinates you most? I love understanding why people make the choices they do. It feels like solving a puzzle. Level 4. Have you ever had a campaign that completely failed? What did you learn from it? If you build trust gradually, they might share a real story of failure and learning. And now you're having a conversation that matters. That's how small talk becomes big connection. Not by skipping steps, but by walking the path together. Chapter 8. Confidence in social situations. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through experience. Every conversation is practice. Every social situation is training. Let's explore how to build real social confidence that lasts. Start small. You don't need to become a networking superstar overnight. Start with tiny steps. Smile at a stranger. Say hello to a cashier. Compliment someone's shirt. Ask a barista how their day is going. These micro-interactions have no stakes. If they go well, great. If they're awkward, who cares? You'll never see that person again. But each one builds a tiny bit of confidence. Each one proves that conversations aren't dangerous. Focus on the other person. Social anxiety is self-focused. You're worried about how you look, how you sound, what they think of you. Shift your focus outward. Get curious about the other person. Ask questions. Listen to answers. When you're genuinely interested in someone else, you forget to be anxious about yourself. The fear fades because your attention is elsewhere. If you're finding these ideas helpful, like this video so more people can discover them. Embrace imperfection. Every conversation won't be perfect. Sometimes you'll say the wrong thing. Sometimes there will be awkward pauses. Sometimes the other person won't be interested in talking. That's okay. That's normal. That's human. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is connection. And connection happens through imperfection, not despite it. Practice regularly. Confidence comes from repetition. The more conversations you have, the easier they become. Challenge yourself to start one new conversation every day with a coworker, with a neighbor, with someone in line at the grocery store. After a month of daily practice, you'll be amazed at how natural conversations feel. Let me tell you a story about building confidence. A friend of mine was painfully shy. He avoided social situations whenever possible. At parties, he'd stand in corners, looking at his phone. He decided he'd had enough. He made a commitment to start one conversation every day for 30 days. Just one. The first week was hard. His heart raced. His palms sweated. But he kept going. By week 2, it felt slightly easier. By week 3, he was actually enjoying it. By week 4, he was starting conversations without even thinking about it. Today, he's one of the most socially confident people I know. Not because he changed who he was, because he practiced. Confidence isn't magic. It's just practice with patience. Chapter 9, Storytelling in Conversations. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful conversation skills, storytelling. Facts are forgettable. Stories are memorable. Facts inform. Stories connect. Facts are abstract. Stories are concrete. When you tell a story, you're not just sharing information. You're sharing experience. You're inviting the listener into your world. Let's explore how to use storytelling in everyday conversations. Start with a moment. Don't start with background or context. Start with a specific moment. Last week, I was walking down the street when something crazy happened. Starting in the middle creates curiosity. The listener wants to know what happens next. Include details. Details make stories feel real. It was raining. I was already late. My coffee was getting cold. And then I saw... Specific details help the listener visualize the scene. They feel like they're there with you. Share emotions. A story without emotion is just a report. Share how you felt. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe it. I've never been so scared in my life. Emotions create connection. When you share feelings, listeners remember their own similar feelings. They relate to you. If you're enjoying this audiobook, share it with someone who loves good conversations. Keep it concise. The best stories are short and focused. Cut out anything that doesn't matter. If a detail doesn't serve the story, leave it out. Aim for 1 to 2 minutes max. Any longer, and you risk losing attention. Invite response. After your story, invite the other person in. Has anything like that ever happened to you? What would you have done in that situation? This turns your story into a shared experience. It's not just you talking. It's the beginning of a deeper conversation. Let me give you an example of storytelling in action. Instead of saying, I had a difficult experience with customer service last week, you could say, last week, I spent 2 hours on the phone with my internet company. At one point, I got transferred to 4 different people. The last person put me on hold for 20 minutes. When she came back, she asked for my account number, which I'd already given to the first 3 people. I almost lost my mind. Which version is more memorable? Which version makes someone want to share their own customer service horror story? That's the power of storytelling. It turns information into experience, and experience is what connects us. Chapter 10, Becoming a Great Conversationalist. We've covered a lot of ground together. Starting conversations, listening deeply, asking better questions, reading body language, handling silence, building deeper connections, growing confidence, telling stories. Now let's bring it all together and explore how to become a truly great conversationalist. It's about them, not you. The most important principle, the one that underlies everything else, is this: great conversations are about the other person. When you focus on making them feel heard, understood, and valued, everything else falls into place. You don't have to be clever or interesting. You just have to be present and curious. Practice daily. Like any skill, conversation improves with practice. Challenge yourself to have one meaningful conversation every day. Not just small talk, real conversation. With the barista, with a coworker, with your partner, with a stranger at the gym. Each conversation is practice. Each one makes you a little better. If you're enjoying this audiobook, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights about personal growth. Reflect and learn. After important conversations, take a moment to reflect. What went well? What would you do differently? What did you learn about the other person? What did you learn about yourself? This reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without it, you just repeat the same patterns. With it, you grow with every conversation. Be patient with yourself. You won't master conversation overnight. There will be awkward moments. There will be conversations that don't go well. There will be days when social anxiety flares up. That's okay. That's part of the journey. Be kind to yourself. Keep practicing. Keep learning. Remember what matters. At its core, conversation isn't about or techniques. It's about human connection. It's about seeing and being seen, hearing and being heard, understanding and being understood. Every person you meet has a story. Every person has dreams, fears, hopes, and struggles. Every person wants to feel that they matter. When you approach conversations with that awareness, everything changes. You're not performing. You're connecting. You're not impressing. You're understanding. And that's when conversations become truly magical. Great conversations aren't about impressing people with how interesting you are. They're about connecting with who they are. When you learn how to truly connect with people, something beautiful happens. Your confidence grows naturally. Your relationships deepen. New opportunities appear. Life becomes richer, fuller, more meaningful. Because at the end of the day, we're all just people. We all want the same things: to be seen, to be heard, to matter. And when you become someone who makes others feel seen and heard, you become someone people want to be around, someone people trust, someone people remember. Start today. Start with one small step. Smile at a stranger. Ask a coworker a real question. Listen without planning your response. Share a story that matters. One conversation at a time. One connection at a time. That's how you become not just a better conversationalist, but a better human. If this audiobook helped you think differently about conversation and connection, like the video, share it with someone who'd appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel for more ideas about personal growth. In the comments, let me know one thing you learned that you'll try in your next conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring enough about your growth to invest this time. Now go out there and have conversations that matter. The world is waiting to connect with you.